So when I came to Isaf, we identified that reading was something that we really needed to work on, and we identified that actually phonics and phonics teaching wasn't embedded throughout the school. So we wanted to try something different and try something new. So we started by looking at the DFE list of phonic providers and phonic schemes and tried to explore ones that we felt that would actually be more beneficial and more suited to the learning style at Isaf. And Monster Phonics jumped out straight away. It was colourful, we could see that they were characters, and we are an infant school, and actually characters are something that children hook onto and find really enjoyable. And we did a bit of further information and further digging around and felt that that would be a really good way for us to go. And then just by luck, we saw Mike Lavin advertising a pilot to come on board, and we thought it's got to be the one for us. The pilot would offer support while we were trying something new, so we thought that that would definitely be the one that would work for us. Staff were really on board from the beginning. I think they could see that we needed to improve reading skills pretty rapidly, so they were all on board. And I think what was really nice about choosing Monster Phonics, we'd had staff that had been trained and delivered letters and sounds, staff that had delivered Jolly Phonics, staff that had been trained with read writing, but we all actually wanted something that nobody had kind of heard of, and we all started at the same baseline. So staff were really excited by that opportunity. And then when they saw Monster Phonics and they saw the characters and the monsters and how visual the learning was, then we had no resistance is the honest answer, and everyone went into it full swing and was really excited to get started. So when we decided to take on Monster Phonics, we did a whole school assembly introducing the children to the scheme, but most importantly introducing them to the monsters. So the first thing we did was play the Monster Phonics song. They were hooked from the instant, from the very beginning, and they saw the monsters because we'd had all our resources arrive, and they were just hooked from the beginning. They were colourful, they're fun to look at, so they just wanted to know more. So when we then took it into classrooms, the children were really excited by the stories about the Monster Phonics story behind each monster, and they really got to know the characters before we actually even delivered any phonic teaching at all. So the monsters actually really hooked those children in, got them really excited, and they were talking about them throughout the day, every day. They took them into the play, into the provision, so they just experienced the monsters. And I think that's really important before you start any of the teaching behind it. Everything is there for you, which I think is really important to say, but you really need to spend the time getting to know the online platform. So everything is at your fingertips, is planned out in detail, and actually there's a variety of resources online. So when staff actually deliver a session, they love the fact that the PowerPoints, the stories and the songs are incredibly engaging. And actually when you speak to the pupils, they'll tell you that. We love the Monster Phonics stories, we love the Monster Phonics songs. But a member of staff can easily log on, find all the lessons, as I said, at their fingertips. When a PPA member of staff or even a supply member of staff comes in, it is there for them, all structured really well. You can still be flexible with it though, and actually gauge how much you feel you need to deliver with your pupils and your learners, whether you want to follow the whole PowerPoint all the way through. There are additional activities which you can choose to use, but actually the delivery of the set down phonics session all together, everyone joining in, is incredibly exciting and engaging. So we love inviting parents in and sharing any of our learning with them, but we felt as a school that we needed to get to know the scheme ourselves. As I said previously, we all started from the same baseline and we all wanted to know the scheme together, which I think is really important. And we wanted to do our own learning journey of the scheme before we actually shared it with parents. We did tell them we were using a new scheme and that the children would come home talking about monsters, and don't worry, we will explain that to you. And when we felt that we'd had a term of really settling together as a team and as staff, we then kind of targeted families and parents. So we did workshops where parents came in, and actually my teachers and all staff were really brave, and actually they taught and delivered a lesson in front of the parents of all the children in their class, which is a really daunting thing to do, but actually was really beneficial. And lots of parents are saying, my child is really excited about Monster Phonics. They're coming home talking about Angry Red A and Green Froggy, and we don't know what it is. So it was really nice then to kind of bring them in and explain that. The parents loved it. They were so excited and can see how kind of engaged their children were, and they turned up to the session and they were really well attended. And that's really kind of excited parents and helped with reading at home, something that I felt has kind of dropped off, particularly since COVID, but now they're really far more engaged, and now they know what we're talking about, which is really important, and they can actually see how that's coming into the children's learning, not just in individual reading, but when they come in for parental engagement days, which are not linked to phonics and other areas of the curriculum, they can still see the link of Monster Phonics and how that's embedded throughout everything, not just the individual phonics sessions and reading. Had a really positive impact across all of those areas really. From a teaching point of view, I think staff, you know, we were confident in teaching phonics, or we thought we were, but actually we've all learned something and we've learned together. Maybe some members of staff were pronouncing sounds incorrectly. Staff are not afraid to correct each other and say, are we sure we're doing that right? So staff's knowledge and skills have improved hugely throughout the year. It's really increased parental engagement with reading because children are so excited about it. But most importantly, it's had an impact on standards. Children weren't confident readers. They didn't really want to read. They weren't excited by books. They weren't excited by stories. And now, because of the phonic knowledge that they've gained throughout the year, they can't wait to pick up a book and just give it a go, even if they think it looks a bit tricky. Our Year 2 cohort had 60% of learners who were reading below their chronological age. We're nearly at the end of the year and we've now got 60% of learners reading well above their chronological age, just because of really good solid phonics teaching.